Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2019 Quidditch Canada Eastern Regional Championship. My name's Calder Schweitzer.
And my name is Summer Schweitzer.
And we are here bringing you our first match of the day here on Pitch 1, which is going to pit the University of Toronto Centaurs against the University of Ottawa GGs.
Woo!
Important notes to make about this first game of the day. The first thing I want to talk about is the weather. It's, as it always is at regionals, it is really, really cold out. And what that means is that long passes are not going to be connecting, and every hit is just going to feel like a bloody freight train coming into you. Quidditch is an interesting sport in that it's played all year round. There's summer leagues and there's winter leagues, and I don't know why we decided that that would be a good idea, but it really does make the sport into something special. The teams have now converged to have a little bit of a pep talk before they do their cheers and before brooms up. So we're going to hang tight for a minute here. For those of you who are not as familiar with the sport of Quidditch, who may be tuning in to your first tournament, the sport is incredibly complicated, and I can't explain it in the amount of time that I have, but I'll do my best. Essentially, both teams are going to have 3 chasers, 2 beaters, and a keeper. The chasers are in the white headbands, as you can see here on the UofT bench. The white headbands are going to be the chasers, which means that they are going to handle that black and white ball right in the center. That is the scoring ball. When that goes through any of those 3 hoops, or any of those 3 hoops, the scoring team, assuming they scored on the right side, gets 10 points. Now, the other 3 balls on the field are going to be handled by the beaters, who are the players in the black headbands. If you get hit by one of these balls, which we call a bludger, you have to get off of your broom, run back to your side, touch your hoops, and then you can rejoin play. So you can effectively knock a player out of the game for a brief minute here and create very advantageous 2v1s, 2v nobodies, any sort of situation that you can think of. The beaters really just throw a wrench into all of that and can really add another level of dynamics and athleticism to the game. Especially because if you have really good beaters, it basically turns into wind sprints. Of course, there are going to be players on the pitch with green headbands. Those are the keepers. They are functionally a chaser with a few extra advantages. They are essentially invincible within their keeper zone, which is analogous to a goalie crease. They cannot be beat in that zone, and they have a few different contact rules. Stand in front. Sorry, just calm down.
Each team has their own individual flair, which adds their own individual and unique aspect to the game.
Refs are calling for the starting lineups, which means we are going to see this game kicking off very soon. A lot of things the refs have to pay attention to as if that explanation of the game, that bare bones explanation wasn't complicated enough, we are the ones that have to police, well, we aren't, but these lovely volunteers in the field are the ones who have to police it, which means that Quidditch actually has, I think it's 7 referees on the pitch at any given time, 1 head referee, 3 assistant referees, and 2 goal referees. Is that 4? That's 6. There's also a snitch ref, which one of the assistant refs turns into when the snitch comes on, which we'll talk about when that happens. I believe seeker floor, which means the time the snitch comes out is 18 minutes. Yes. I personally have been out of the game for a little while and might be a little fuzzy on some of the rules. But thankfully, Summer here is a brand new player, first year at Queens, and will be able to inform me when I'm being an idiot.
Fill in the gaps.
Players are ready and they are off. We're going to see a contesting run for the beginning. Number 18, Chaser on Ottawa is going to pick it up and go for a quick 10 points. That's first score for Ottawa, and this is where we talk about momentum. Because momentum is a very big thing in Quidditch. It can really take over a game, and nothing builds momentum better than two things. That first quick goal and a massive tackle. So that is a very good sign for Ottawa coming out of the gate. Of course, it's too early to say anything, but always something you want to see and something that definitely gets the bench fired up. We're going to see a slow ball tactic coming up from UofT. This is something they were doing last year, where they kind of grouped their whole team around their chaser, or around their keeper who came up with the ball, and then one person would go to the back to be a pass outlet. Unfortunately, it looks like this was something that definitely messed up. Personally, I know messed up Guelph last year. We had quite a hard time against this strategy, but it looks like that other teams have started to learn how to combat it. It's definitely a new strategy and something that is a little bit unique to UofT, but we're going to see a little bit of a breakdown in that play as that UOttawa defense sort of dissolves that pod around the keeper, and we're going to see the chaser number 9 on UofT now running around at the top of the midline. Going to be a beat and a strip, but it's going to be, a nice pass out to an attacking chaser, but a good play by the UOttawa beaters is going to break down that offense. And we're going to see a fast break from number 2. The keeper on Ottawa is going to go in for another 10 points. Score is now 20-0 in favor of the University of Ottawa.
Quaffle's coming back up the pitch, held by the keeper. We had a little bit of a diagonal there, and on the way up. Oh, the Quaffle blocked the beat, but he has to go back to Hoops.
This is something that we're seeing from Ottawa coming out now. Twice now, they've really used their size to bully the comparatively a little bit smaller and quicker UofT squad into submission to force those turnovers. Of course, this is looking like on the pitch right now sort of the battle of size and speed, and right now size is winning. You see a lob pass out to number 6. Chaser on UofT is going to get caught up in a little bit of confusion. Good pressure from beater number 12 on Ottawa, going to force a pass that's going to hit the ground. Ottawa scrambling for it. UofT manages to get it, toss it over the head, but there's no receiver. It's going to get in the hands of the Ottawa keeper, and we are going to see a full sub from the Ottawa side. University of Ottawa now crossing the center line with the Quaffle. It's in the hands of keeper number 30. Going to get pressured by number 6 on UofT. A little bit of a scrape. We're going to see a pass behind the hoops. Beautiful catch by chaser number 21 on Ottawa for another 10 points. We need to see, I might be mistaken, but I don't think we've seen UofT answer a goal yet.
No, I don't think so either. Still early though, we're only 3 minutes in.
I think, is it 30 or 40? Something like that. 40. What's the score? 30-0? They're saying 40.
You missed one of the goals.
There's a little bit of a score change. I do believe it is 40 for Ottawa.
On the sheet though?
Ooh, a beautiful dodged beat by number 6 on UofT is going to open up a little bit of space. Oh, but the pass is going to be stuffed. We see number 30 pouncing on that ball and grabbing it. Yeah, that is always a sort of a fun and necessary maneuver by the keeper, but it can be a little scary at times being on the ground and with all the feet around you. That's a move that broke my nose last year at Nationals. But we're going to see now chaser number 1 on Ottawa is going to find a little bit of space, run up. Oh my gosh. Just poking holes. Wow, that was a beautiful run. Just poked holes all through the UofT defense. They're going to need to show up a little bit more if they're going to stop this momentum that's now been gained by Ottawa. What's the score? Okay. It probably doesn't help that we're standing right in front. Oh, okay.
Here we can see UofT coming up again with the ball.
Speak up.
We have a little bit of action going on behind the hoops over here.
Hearing the cry of two hands coming out from the UofT bench, it is a little bit difficult picking up that ball with one hand, but it's also difficult picking it up with two and still hanging onto your broom. Of course, the presence of the broom, if you haven't noticed yet, is something of a hindrance to a lot of the players and can make, add another degree of difficulty to the sport. Everything from passing to catching to picking up the ball, as we saw, is made just a little bit harder by having to keep that thing between your legs. We're going to see a hard offensive beat coming out from the beater. That's going to be one beater essentially neutralizing two opposing beaters, opening up a lot of space, and it's going to be just enough for number 18 to come and make a fast break and score again. uOttawa is starting to run away with this game. Oh, we're going to see a full sub. Oh my gosh, full sub for UofT. And Ottawa is going to take that opportunity with the quaffle in the hands of the chaser to attack the vulnerable lone player and see if they can get a strip or a tackle and a quick goal. But it's going to be some good solid core strength from, I believe that was chaser number, I think that's 934 on UofT, hanging on to that ball, staying on their feet, and that's a good defense there. As we see a little bit of a breakdown, it's going to come up in the hands of UofT, who's going to take a shot. Is that going to be the first goal of the match? No, it is not, unfortunately. Just wide of the hoop, and it's going to go into a turtle dog pile onto the ground. That's going to come up in the hands of keeper number 68 for Ottawa.
I would, however, like to add that UofT did get a goal a little bit earlier on in the game. Not sure if you happened to notice that one.
I didn't notice that one. Thank you, Summer.
I will admit it's quite slippery. Quite good.
You see a bounce pass. Ooh, unfortunate bounce pass coming out from uOttawa. That's what we said. We're hearing it coming off the Ottawa bench now. Safe passes is the name of the game for this tournament as it is right now. It is very cold. Those hands are, we see a few players wearing gloves, but even those wearing gloves, they're not warm gloves. They're sticky gloves. The hands very cold. Passes are going to be flying all over the place. This is going to be more of a contact sort of running style of Quidditch today is my prediction at the very least. We've seen teams make it work in the past, but it is much more difficult. As we see number 0, with a beautiful pass out to their chaser, but it looks like the refs are calling no goal, so it looks like it might have been beat before, as we're hearing no beaters now, as number 30 is going to take a run, cross pass to 90, who's going to put it right through the middle hoop for 10 points. Unfortunate timing for UofT on that offense, being beat before an otherwise very, very good sort of shoot and score, or a pass and score. There's no name for it, but I can't remember. I've been out of the game for too long. As we see UofT. Okay, amendment to that play. It looks like the UofT goal was good, and it was actually just a very fast turnaround and recovery that allowed Ottawa to score on that. As we see now, keeper coming around the back, going to take a wild shot in the face of a beat, but it's going to get caught up by number 2, the keeper on Ottawa.
Yeah, but it's not just me, that's them coming here and saying that.
They said no goal.
Exactly, okay.
So they got 2.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. They have 2.
uOttawa, we're going to see some good, finally some really good aggression coming out from UofT. Going to tie up number 14, chaser on, 14 going to tie up, I believe it was number 2, the keeper on Ottawa, who's going to force a bad pass. Fortunately for Ottawa, there was a very prudent defense, or a very prudent offensive player, chaser on the back, ready to chase and receive that pass and bring it up to the hoop and score.
We see the quaffle in the hand of the UofT keeper. Oh! Takes a bit of a hard fall there and gets beat. That's not a good combination whatsoever.
So it looks like we might get my prediction on that is a tripping call. Didn't look intentional, but definitely something that, I don't know how good the mic is on this state-of-the-art camera, but There's definitely a bit of a grunt coming from the U of T chaser hitting the ground. Doesn't look like there's any injury on the play, but that we may see a card called for an involuntary trip.
No injury, but a little bit of a grimace.
A little bit of a grimace, maybe a little bit of pride.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in my experience, that heals very quickly.
Yes. During this little bit of a brooms down moment, I'd just like to take a second to thank the City of Guelph and the University of Guelph for hosting the Eastern Regionals competition on this fine, fine Saturday morning.
We're gonna see a what color was the card? Blue. We're gonna see a blue card coming out for chaser number 5 on uOttawa for tripping. As we said earlier, didn't look intentional, but it is something that the refs have to be looking out for. What that means. I would say it's a similar system to soccer, but I don't actually know that much about soccer, except that the colors of the cards are the same. A 1-minute penalty essentially means that this player is going to be out of the game for a minute. Or they'll either be out for a full minute or until the next goal scored against them. At which point they will re-enter off broom, have to touch the hoops, and then rejoin the game. Blue cards do not stack, which means if you can get as many blue cards as you want in a game, and the only thing it'll cost you is that time lost. A yellow card will stack, so a yellow card is still a 1-minute penalty. You get back at the same conditions. But if you get 2 yellow cards in a game, it upgrades to an automatic red, and you're out for the rest of the game.
UofT keeper on a little bit of a breakaway, maybe some play behind the hoop with that quaffle.
UofT opting for the lob pass to the chaser in behind instead of the shot. Bit of a risky move, and it came to fruition with no goal. But it is a snap decision that you have to make. And there was quite a bit of pressure on UofT there to make that decision. So no fault of their own, just didn't quite go their way. We're going to see now chaser number 1 on uOttawa. Chaser number 1 working the penalty kill now as they are still short-handed, wasting as much time as they can up on the center line there, trying to pass it around, play with the beaters a bit, but it looks like we're now going to get an offensive chance as number 68 fights through 2 tackles, just lob it. With as much wrist action as they had open, lobbed it out of the tackle, and it was picked up by a couple of very prudent uOttawa players who managed to get it into the hoops. All right, we're going to see Ottawa now back at full strength. Very good penalty kill and defense as they managed to not get scored on despite being down a chaser. As we see UofT now mounting another offense. Score currently sitting at 90-20 in favor of uOttawa. Of course, with that, that's a sort of a vicious face beat coming in. As we're going to see, very aggressive beating by UofT is going to give, very aggressive beating by Ottawa is going to give them a no-beaters opportunity. But we're seeing there is the aggression that UofT has been needing to find this game. That is 2 shutdowns on no bludgers fast breaks in a row. That was a beautiful defense by UofT. Yeah, very good after a little bit of an unfortunate moment up there at the half line with some very aggressive point beating by Ottawa. It's going to be a beautiful defense, and not even a bludger defense, just a straight up tackle physicality defense. As we see, uOttawa now is back in possession. Going to whiff a pass just over the hands of number 24, and it's going to roll out of bounds. I think that was that. If I were to predict a turning point for UofT in this game, that was it. That was 2 massive hits, and we talked about that earlier in the live stream, that is what really can get a bench fired up. People love to see their team making the big hits. And I think if there's going to be a turning point for UofT in this game, this is where they're going to harness that energy and turn it into a few more points. UofT now, we see the same thing. They're using that sort of wolf pack strategy as number 6 is going to break away from it, going to run to number 68, who isn't going to quite be able to find the tackle. It's just enough to force a bad pass to the chaser. It's going to go, it's going to be a blind pass over the shoulder, going to get batted backward, a little bit of juggling by Ottawa, but it's going to end up in their keeper's hands. Those sort of juggles of the ball when they're, in one team's hands and the other, all behind the hoops, those are really very entertaining to watch. Absolutely terrifying to be a part of.
I can concur. Here you see 27 on uOttawa with the quaffle, passing it to 30, the keeper.
It's a lot more dangerous. That's just how I see it. It seemed dangerous to me, so I won't call it, but I'll keep an eye out. Okay, thank you.
27 from Ottawa goes up, shoots, and gets another tip.
Well, 57. Yeah. Call 50 something. Is it 18? Yeah, give it 18. Yeah, sure, why not? I always do it.
The offense is reforming yet again on the U of T side. A little bit of a beat there, and we can see a little bit of a struggle in the middle there. I believe that was Chaser 0. Oh, Keeper 0. I have lied. A little bit of quaffle action here from uOttawa Chaser, number 18.
I made it. Didn't think it would happen, but I made it.
Doing a little bit of a tactic here with their beater on the in front. Oh, a little bit of a breakaway there, but he gets stopped by the keeper on the U of T side. And the U of T keeper regains possession of the quaffle, and they're heading up yet again for an offensive play. And I will also note that U of T currently has BS.
AR's hand was up and she put it back down after that contact.
Meaning they have both bludgers in the game. But we do see a little bit of a wrap here going on with 23, also a beater on the uOttawa side, trying to wrap and get a bludger away.
I know you're a beater.
As a beater, it's my noble duty to notify the beaters and the general public as to what the beaters are doing. However, I have recently informed that quaffle is the important part of the game.
Well, this is where it kind of comes in. This is a problem we've been dealing with. I've been commentating Quidditch for quite a while now, and this is a problem that we've come with because the beater play, I mean, I will be the first one to say it, I am far too stupid to be a beater. Beater play is very, very intense, and it takes a lot, like a different level of gameplay. It's a whole different sport because as a beater you can't score. You can only facilitate the scoring of your team. I'm very much a sort of, put my head down and run to the other hoops. But and I think highlighting the beater play is definitely a very good idea because it takes a different level of athleticism and thought to be a really good beater.
Thank you.
But of course, following the quaffle, the scoring is also very important. And a lot of the time, the work of the beaters is that sort of behind. They're sort of like the tech crew in the theater, right? They're the ones that all the showy stuff that you see from the chasers is made possible by their beaters. And I'll be as a veteran keeper, I'll be the first to tell you that. You know what? It's a lot of fun too. I love it. I'm really bad at it, but I really like it. So you see a stoppage of play here. Unsure of what the. It looks like no card on the play. It was just a brief stoppage. Refs conferring on something, but it's not going to come to any sort of a call. Score is now 100-20. As we see again, aggressive point chasing. Aggressive point chasing by uOttawa is going to put the quaffle through their hoops, but all the referees' hands go up as we see what looked to me like a very clear neck contact on that attacking player by the U of T defending chaser. Unfortunate situation, getting desperate in those moments when you realize you're a little bit caught out, but
Yellow card, UofT 14, contact on the neck. The ball is good.
Okay, so yellow.
So because the goal is good, that means no time served for the offending player because they essentially were scored on after the penalty. But that yellow card is going to stack. So if number 14 now gets a second yellow card, they will be kicked right out of the game, and will upgrade to a red, and that will go on their record. It's all those sort of egregious contact moves that are going to earn you yellow cards, whereas technicals are more blue. As we see now, the chaser for UofT taking a wide berth around the left side of the field is going to get beat out, though, and it's going to get picked up. Looks by, chaser number 13 for Ottawa making a fantastic run, breaking right through a tackle and going for it, but it's going to go out of bounds now and get picked up safely in the hands, once again, of the UofT keeper. It doesn't look like Ottawa has any beaters, and I think I don't think UofT has noticed this yet. They're in a no-beater situation, which is a fantastic situation to be in, especially for a fast or a physical player. But number 90 is going to step up and replace that beater with what looked like a good tackle. Unfortunately, fortunately for number 6, the keeper is going to break out of it. Beautiful pass. Number 9 is going to take a trip around the wide side of the hoops. Nice pass, but it's going to get the receiver is going to be beat. Once again picked up. I believe that's number 9 for UofT. Very important player to watch because they have been all over that quaffle, following their passes, making sure that when there's a rebound or a fumble, they're there to pick it up. Very, very impressive play. Unfortunately, on a play that didn't come to a goal, but the fundamentals of that were fantastic to watch. We see Ottawa now coming up, crossing the center line with the quaffle. Number 68 leaving an option for number 76 who's going to come and do a handoff. 68 running right into a UofT defender. That tackle is going to break down after a beat, but there's going to be what looks like a beat on the play, but it's going to come up in the hands of number 74, who's now making a play. Going to pass. Going to get fumbled by number 21. Is going to go onto the floor and picked up by the UofT keeper. The time is 17:17, which means that in less than a minute's time, we're going to see the Snitch on the pitch. The Snitch, of course, is worth 30 points to the team that grabs it. Snitch is on pitch. Seekers are going to be released in about 30 seconds. Do we have Seekers for both teams?
20 seconds for Seekers.
Oh yeah, they're coming. And once that Snitch is pulled, the game is going to end. There's no hard time limit on a Quidditch game. It could go for days if that Snitch somehow has an infinite repository of energy.
I believe that was a goal for UofT from the keeper.
Seekers are released.
And the Seekers are off.
Seekers.
That Snitch.
The Seekers are released as they're going to be chasing the Snitch now. So what we're seeing here, we're going to look at the Seeker game for a second. Number 14, who has just been beat, is defensive seeking, which means that UofT still thinks that they have the chance to come back into this game and score enough to win. We're seeing some very hard offensive seeking from number 5, getting a couple good chances, but the Snitch is just going to deny all of them as we're going to go back to the quaffle now to watch this. This is an interesting part. Me as a keeper always loved when Snitch was on pitch because the teams have to devote a certain amount of beater energy to the Snitch, to the Seekers, which means that as soon as that Snitch comes on pitch, you see a lot more runs, you see a lot more hits. It becomes a more physical game for the quaffle carriers. And that was always my favorite part of Quidditch. And I think it's very entertaining time to watch. We're going to see a no good pull on the Snitch. Looks like it probably just fell off of the shorts or something. Seekers having to give that Snitch 3 seconds of downtime before they can attempt again. As we're going to see a pass going out to number 934. It's going to hit the floor and it's going to roll to number 341, who's going to make another pass. A little bit of, going around the circuit of the hoops here for UofT, but it's not going to come to fruition for a goal. But here, this is what I'm talking about. Number 2, seeing that opening, no beaters on the pitch for UofT, going to come in and make that fast break against 4 defenders, going to get taken down by a nice tackle by I believe that was the UofT keeper, but play is going to, I believe that was the Snitch pull before the goal, so whether it's good or not, that goal will not count. But we're going to have the refs come in here for a second and confer. We're going to have the refs come in here for a second and confer about whether or not the Snitch pull was good. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Once that Snitch comes on pitch, one of the ARs, the assistant referees, turns into an SR, which is a Snitch referee, because it's just such a dynamic and sort of its own, it could be its own sport. So they have a dedicated Snitch ref to watch that Snitch and make sure the pull was good. As a Seeker, when you pull the Snitch, you have to make sure you don't impede the Snitch's movement in any way. If you wrap them up, if you bump into them, even if they run into another referee or a player, that pull is going to be called no good. The Snitch has to have free, full range of movement in order for a pull to be called good. What do you think Summer, about the game so far? You know, as we see what looks like a potentially successful pull for uOttawa. Do you have any comments about either of the teams and the games that they've played in this first game of the Eastern Regional Championship?
Well, in the past, we traveled to Montreal in Quebec, and unfortunately, I did not have the pleasure of playing against either UofT or uOttawa. However, I can say from spectating, I'm going to take a break and let you know that uOttawa has caught the Snitch. The Seeker was successful with their catch.
So that's going to be a powerful game coming out from U of Ottawa. They really dominated that whole game. UofT only putting up 3 points on the board. As we saw, some very good moments from UofT. That defense specifically, where they made those 2 big hits with no bludgers on their side. Beautiful to watch. A few of their offensive breakdowns, as I mentioned earlier, were also very impressive. But uOttawa just came out of here with speed and with size. And unfortunately, for this first game, UofT were a little bit flat-footed. Of course, the beauty of the Eastern Regional Championship is that it takes place over 2 days. So, you know, it's far too early to say anything about where either of these teams are going to end up. And we've definitely seen some massive comeback stories, some massive falls from grace in these events before. So right now we can say it was a fantastic game of Quidditch. uOttawa making a very good initial appearance at this tournament, but it is far from over for UofT. With that's going to end our first game. Do you have any final comments to make, Summer?
Thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. My first commentating experience was very beneficial, and I'm looking forward to tuning myself in again, and you'll be hearing from both of us a little bit later today.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, because we've got another game coming up pretty much immediately after this one with a different 2 different teams, different commentating crew, which is, I know, what you're really here to listen to. But don't go anywhere. That's going to be coming up very soon. But for now, I'm Calder Schweitzer.
And I'm Summer Schweitzer.
And thank you for tuning in.